like to have Bernie on for the first episode of the relaunched Caledonian Braves podcast. I'm your host for this one, Callum Rattray, and I thought what better place to start with episode 1 with our number one Bernie. So how you doing, Bernie?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, it's been a long day at work, but happy to get into training as always. And yeah, thanks for having me down early to do this podcast.
I know, worries. I was thinking of the way to set it up there. I don't know if you got any nicknames you've got there. I've been thinking that in commentary as well. Have you got any names?
I wouldn't say any. Nothing too popular, but just Burn. I like going short. Keep it simple, but yeah, that's probably what my family calls me too.
I've been thinking up in commentaries because me and my co-commentator phrase if there's any names we can come up with or something like that. So if you get any ideas, I mean, don't want to lean into the American thing too much. I don't know if there's anything we can go with.
The boys here like to call me Big Bernie, so
Big Bernie,
you want to go with that.
Okay, right.
Suits the
Yeah, that works as well. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think we've had Fraser Forster at Celtic. I think he was known as the Wall, but maybe that wouldn't work quite so well with the American links onto that one. So
that could be interesting.
So sort of going into that, then looking into your history. Obviously, we've had the launch of our We Funder and American owners coming into the club. But obviously, you were here before that. It's coming on to a year. You've been at the club. Was it last January you joined?
Yeah, I think it was just the beginning of last February.
February, yeah.
Crazy, it's flown by.
Almost a year. So how did it end up that we have an American goalkeeper at a fifth-tier Scottish football club? How did that come about?
Yeah, that's a question I get a lot being over here, and it was really just random. So, I graduated from. I guess we can go into it a little more, but I graduated from university where I played in the U.S. And obviously I have a British passport, being born in the UK. So. I just thought what better way to use it than to come over, and I wanted to continue playing. So moved over here. After I got in touch with Chris, I literally just sent him an email. Mm-hmm. I was like, look, I know it's random, but here's my highlight tape, like a little bit of my background. And I think he sent it on to the gaffer, and he had a look at the video and liked what he saw. So really fortunate to him to give me the chance to come over, and it's been a great year so far, and I've really enjoyed my time.
So when that came up, did you sort of just send your tape around to a few different places? Was it just in Scotland you looked, or England?
Yeah, so I'd actually had a chat with, the conference that I played in the US, there was a goalie who had graduated, I think, 3 years before me. I was just like trying to make connections at the time, didn't really know what I wanted to do, and had a chat with him, and he kind of let me know about his journey. So he ended up playing overseas, I think in Sweden. Okay. But he kind of had some connections in Scotland and the UK, and he told me about like the Lowland League level and, some similar leagues around the UK, Northern Ireland, England and stuff. And just gave me some ideas of who to reach out to, and just kind of went from there, literally going on the club's websites, finding points of contact. And, sometimes you just got to take a risk, and lucky it paid off.
I'd certainly say it paid off for us as well, getting you in. So was it just the chance to come up here? Did you train with the squad before signing on, or was it just a sort of
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things. Like I made the trip over here, so I think I was here no matter what. Yeah. Luckily, I think I did decent in the first. I'd been off for I don't think I'd played a match in 2 months, so maybe a little bit rusty. So maybe the first few trainings was kind of just getting my feet back, and obviously being in a new environment. But once I started training and got comfortable with the group and kind of settled in a bit, the gaffer offered me a contract to stay until the end of the season, which was great.
Mm-hmm. And we'll obviously jump back into the Braves a bit more again, but you mentioned it there. So what was your experience before coming to the Braves? So university, football you were playing as well. And I should probably ask, is it football or soccer for you as well?
I think at this point it's just football.
Yeah.
If I would go back to the US, maybe I'd call it soccer around some people, but I think I've just gotten used to calling it football at this point.
I presume that wouldn't go around too well in the soccer in the changing room. So so looking back, so was it 4 years of university you did?
Yeah, so it was originally supposed to be 4. With COVID, it turned into a little bit more. But yeah, 4. I played 4 seasons. So kind of the biggest shock for me here has been the way the season works. So in the US, you have a 3 to 4 month really intense season in uni. So you're playing 2, sometimes 3 games a week, every week. Just a lot of games. But it's only 3-4 months versus here. You're playing an 11-month season, which was something completely new to me. But yeah, I played at Immerse College, which is, so in the US and the university, you've got 3 divisions. And that's it's not necessarily based on the level. It's more about kind of the size of school and the way the school is. But you've got your top Division 1 schools, but there's really good schools at every level. So I went the route of going to a D3 school, somewhere really good academically. So I kind of was able to use football to get in there, and had a great time there. I was able to have a 4-year career, which is pretty rare in university football. You normally don't play much your first couple of years, but we won a lot of games. I got to compete for national championships, and I had a great great experience and stuff. But yeah, beyond that, I mean, I grew up in Texas, in Austin, and I played for a club there. So before there was Austin FC, which is kind of the professional club there now, kind of the best thing around was Lone Star Soccer Club. So that was like the club I played for all the way through middle school, high school, and the best players in Austin were part of that team, and great group of guys. I still talk to some of them, and so that was like my youth football.
Mm-hmm. I mean, standard what 6'7" as well.
Yeah, 6'6", maybe a little generous. 6'5", I would normally say.
6'5", okay, right.
Yeah.
Would you say there's ever thoughts of other sports as well? Obviously, height advantages coming in there, basketball, for example.
Yeah.
Was it always?
I mean, as much as you'd find it crazy, like I wouldn't be that tall in terms of even university basketball. You can
make the cut though. Yeah.
Yeah, I played basketball in middle school, but once I got to high school, which was around 14, 15, that's when I really started to take football seriously. Mm-hmm. I was like, I decided I wanted to try to play in university, and so that's when I really just started to solely focus on football and just try to do football training. But yeah, I mean, there's so many sports in the U.S. I played American football in middle school. I was a kicker, and I played some wide receiver as well, I think. And I was on the offensive line, so
okay.
I gave a few different sports a try, which is I think a lot of Americans do that, and I think in the end it actually makes you a better athlete. Just gives you better hand-eye coordination, better footwork, stuff like that.
Well, something I've sort of have been curious about when watching your game as well, thinking about as you're kicking and you're throwing as well, get some distance on that. Would you say there's sort of been an advantage that could possibly come from other sports that you've taken into that?
Yeah, I would say so. Just doing more sports, like doing sports that use your hands more, I think, gives you that upper body coordination and my throw, like obviously my long throw is a good weapon to use, and to be honest, my kicking didn't really come on that much until I got to uni, and I got stronger and kind of filled out into my body, but that's been a big weapon as well.
That's definitely the handy thing to have, isn't it? Yeah. You never know when you're going to need that. I mean, I was at a game in the championship the other day, Rafe Rovers, and goalkeeper Kevin Dabrowski for the Rovers he couldn't actually kick the ball at all because of his leg injury, and that. You see the use of that throw, he was having to use it every single time instead of kicking, so definitely see the advantage of that. And
definitely.
I think we saw in the behind the scenes documentary as well, giving us an American football throw as well.
I know Chris wasn't too impressed with his own throw, but good to give a little American lesson there.
Mm-hmm. So going into college as well, is that quite a big move as well, across the country as well? Where did you, was it just the school that sort of pulled you in, the college you went to,
Yeah, so when I was kind of going through my college recruiting process, I was talking to a few different schools, and it ended up that I was choosing between a Division I school in Texas, and then Immerse, which is a Division III school in the Northeast near Boston. But really just like the academic caliber of the school, it was impossible to turn down. I was able to get a degree there that is, very, probably wouldn't have been able to get in if I didn't have football. So I kind of just saw that as a really good opportunity to set myself up for the rest of my life and get my degree under my belt. And it was tough, definitely tough at first moving away, but I'd kind of been used to that, like moving around a few times as a kid, moving from the UK to the US. So it wasn't, I don't think, as daunting for me as maybe some other people would have found it.
Mm-hmm. And so you mentioned you studied there as well. What is it that you do outside of football as well?
Yeah, so at the moment I'm working, I actually work, my full-time job during the day is involved with football. So I work for a company that sends international students over to the US on scholarships, and then also now helping kids within the US to go and play college sports as well. So, it's great to stay involved with kind of that side as well. And I've always wanted to work in football, so I think this is a great first opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Tie it all in, yeah. And was that something you were doing when you came across, or was that an opportunity you found sort of since you got here? Or? Yeah,
that was something I found since I got here, and it just kind of gave me that full-time security, and be able to keep playing my football, which is what I really want to do. So it's been really good so far.
And then I was going to say, so we've obviously mentioned that you were 4 years at college, a fair amount of time there, and were you 23 years old? 23 years old. So coming across to the Lowland League, what sort of differences did you find in the style of play? Were the challenges? Did you find the transition quite easy? Of course, tells people listening that one, following the club for the season when you came in, great competition, Chris Henry last year. And I don't think he dropped out of the team any fault of his own. Chris was obviously playing really well too, and you came in and had that competition for that place. What sort of challenges did you sort of find in that?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge for me was going from an environment where I was, the biggest, oldest person on the pitch coming into like men's football. So I'd played, even in the summer before my last year of uni, I'd played in a league in the US, USL2. So that's kind of it's the fourth tier, but it's still like semi-pro. So it's a lot of college kids will play in that, and it's a really good level. But again, it's mostly everyone's 24 and under, I would say. And then coming over here to men's football, where you're playing against grown men who, it's not just the physical side, it's kind of their knowledge of the game, kind of knowing how to work a game, being tactical with the referees and punish you when you do make a mistake. So I would say that was the biggest thing. And then also just kind of being calmer on the ball. And I think the college soccer game is a lot more high paced, like frantic. And then here was kind of just learning how to take a breath. Yeah. And that's something I talk to the gaffer about a lot, is just kind of not everything has to be 100 miles an hour. You can slow it down at times too. So those would be the biggest differences, I would say.
I mean, it's sort of an interesting topic, looking at sort of the American college system and how it works. Would you say for soccer, it works as well as it does? I mean, you look at sports like basketball and baseball, and almost the best level you get, certainly in the States, out with the top leagues will then be the college level. Yeah. Then would you say for football, would you say it's a sort of, now you can sort of take a step back and look at it from your perspective, having done 4 years, that sort of the experience of playing football is different when you get into the men's league? Because obviously I think you see a lot of guys, I mean, you look at our squad, the amount of 18, 19-year-olds in there, sort of jumping straight into the deep end. Would you say there's advantages to sort of both sides of it, or?
Like advantages to playing in college versus? Yeah. I would say the main thing is people ask me, did the college game prepare me for this, and I would definitely say so. I don't know. I think the lone league, to be honest, I didn't really know what to expect when I came over here, because in the US we don't even really have a fifth tier. So I knew that the top 4 leagues are full time, a lot of full time professionals, and when you go down to England, the top, you can probably full time all top 5 leagues. So I was just kind of curious to see what the standard was going to be like. But I gotta say, I was really impressed. Coming over here, how seriously people take football, even at the lower levels. The standard of player that you get at this level. And I remember we went away last season to, I think it was Thrive at the time, and they were, I want to say 10th division. And I was when I saw the draw, I was like, oh, a team in the 10th division, wonder what that's going to be like. Yeah. And we got there, and it was a great setup, good amount of fans, and I was like, wow, that was real eye opener.
Would I be right to think as well? Was your debut? Was it mid-Annandale?
Yeah, and that's one I try to forget.
2-0 down in 10 minutes. And then, I can't remember how many goals we won that game by.
I think we did. We did win.
I think Ross McNeil scored 6 or something on the day. But I remember that you coming in for your debut, then 2 goals went in quick. When we were watching it, we're like, well, to be fair, it wasn't any fault of your own.
The first one wasn't, but the second one was.
Okay, the second one was. We'll block that one from the memory because we won it. Yeah. But so looking back at that sort of season for the Braves, then few challenges getting your way in, but sort of settling yourself into the team. Then obviously coming into this season, there was a big move, a lot of players moving on from the club as well. But do you feel like you've sort of really been able to stamp your place in the team? Certainly from watching on from the sides, it looks like you've really found yourself. Yeah,
I think the big thing is just coming into the season. I had a little injury towards the end of last season, so I really just tried to use the time off to get my my body right and prepare myself for the season. Obviously, I know how many games there's going to be, so I knew it was going to be one for the long haul. But really, I think the big thing was getting a good preseason under my belt. I think we had a really good preseason as a team, just kind of solidifying the squad, and then working with Ross, our goalie coach as well, and the other 2 guys, Connor and Adam. I think we got a really good foundation in there, and I think that set us up for success throughout the season so far. It's been nice to something the gaffer talks about a lot, is just having that continuity along the back line, and having some great defenders in front of me, and getting to see young guys like Robbie step up and play well, and then having great center backs and Rooney out wide as well. It's been brilliant.
It seems like the communication between you and Jack and Daniel as well has just worked really well at times. Just having that solid core and in the middle has been key to, I think, a lot of our success at times as well. Yeah,
definitely.
Mm-hmm. And then as well as that, so looking back to when you did come across the club, we've obviously sort of talked about the playing side of it and how you found that transition. What was would you say culturally, and coming into the squad, was there many culture shocks for you at all in that, or did you?
I know it sounds cliche, but definitely at first I was really shocked by just the accent, the Glaswegian accent. I really struggled to understand a lot when I first came. but it did sound like a foreign language at first, but I've definitely gotten used to it now, and now I don't have any problem. But in terms of like culture-wise, so a lot of my family's in Liverpool, and I've visited there throughout my whole life, and I lived there until I was 7. So, I already kind of understood, the Northern English culture. I would say is pretty similar.
Yeah,
to Scottish, but definitely more similar than if you go down Southern England. So I kind of already had an idea of what I was getting into, and Glasgow as a city is pretty similar to Liverpool as well, I would say. So
you stay in the city centre yourself? Or?
Yeah, pretty close to the city centre. I got lucky finding a flat, so I've been able to explore the city and kind of see what it's about. So culturally, it wasn't as big of a transition. Maybe people would think, being American and coming over, but I've really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. And like with the squad as well, get on with all the guys. Was that sort of an easy transition as well? Obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I think at first it was always going to be a little bit like awkward. They're like wondering what I'm doing here, and but I think that's how it is whenever you get to a new environment, whether that's in football or in life. So it's been brilliant. They've taken me in, and I feel like I have a great relationship with everyone on the team, and it's a really good group, to be honest. Really enjoy being around them at training, and I see them a lot, so
yeah, of course.
It's good to be around a good group.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you're almost one of the longest serving players in a way as well after such a big summer change.
Yeah, which is crazy.
It did feel coming back in after the summer, just so many new faces, but the group's really settled in well, it feels like, and growing together. So, and you mentioned as well, so family in Liverpool you've got an American family, would I be right in saying?
Yeah,
so just over here for...
my dad's American, and my mom is from Liverpool.
Okay.
So all of her family lives in Liverpool permanently, and she's got a big family. And then my dad's family is smaller, and they're kind of spread out around the U.S. So I have family in both places, but definitely a bigger family based in Liverpool.
Mm. So is that something do you go down to Liverpool much and see your family as well?
Not as much as I probably would have thought, just with how busy I've been with football and working a job as well. But I went down over Christmas, so my parents and my sisters from the U.S. came over to Liverpool, and was able to go down there. And then New Year's Day, I went down again to watch the match at Anfield, which was great.
Fan as well.
Yeah, big Liverpool fan, big red. Not an Everton.
Oh, I'm Arsenal, so we won't talk too much about what's happened in the last week.
Yeah, no, I'll take it. It was a good result the other night.
Yeah, but I said we'll leave that one. As you didn't want to talk about my dad and Dale, I won't talk about what's happened at the Emirates. Yeah,
fair enough.
So as well, just looking ahead, so I feel we've covered sort of your career quite well and how you came into the Braves, and sort of looking ahead, what are your sort of targets in short, medium term, sort of looking for the rest of the season?
I mean, definitely, I think something the Gaffers talked a lot about this season is, as you said, with that big transition in the summer, a lot of guys leaving, using this part of the season up to now to really, kind of see momentum and get the group closer together and build relationships. And, now I just really want to kick on, and I feel like we've had a decent run of results in the past month or so. So just kicking on from there, continue to pick up points, and more importantly, just put in good performances and continue to feel like we're getting better as a team. Hopefully finish the season as strong as we can. Still in a few good cups. So hopefully can go on some runs in those as well. And then, anything past there, I don't really worry about too much. I like to focus on the near future and what we can control. So
I'll take it as it comes, and hopefully many of those memories will be with the Caledonian Braves, we hope for. So, and as well, just having a look as well, I was going to ask you I've just mentioned it briefly at the start of the We Fund the campaign, obviously going up.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was something that was mentioned to you when you came into the club. It was obviously in the works.
Yeah.
Sharing it.
So I think when I first got in contact with Chris, he didn't explicitly tell me like exactly what was going to happen, but he mentioned some activity with trying to expand the club to new owners, a new ownership group, especially in the U.S. And I know I think that was definitely part of the decision in bringing me in was having a player from the U.S. could be good for that, which I was happy about. Yeah. So it's it's been really cool to see kind of how it's taken off so far, and hopefully that continues. But I think it's definitely cool to have like a unique club and be part of something where you've got people all around the world who are interested in what you're doing, because I know that's pretty unique to this setup.
I mean, you proved it on the pitch as well. That's why you're here too, of course. But it's helped us from a content standpoint at times as well.
I know. I feel like I joke with my family, like they definitely get enough use out of me in terms of content. But that's comes with the description.
Yeah, it does. It certainly helps us with that, and all the links to America. Because we do obviously do our streams, and we get people commenting in for watching from all over the States. I think I've seen your dad in there as well a few times at that. So
hopefully.
well, watching him some good performances this season, I'd like to say. So obviously, I feel those links have been good. And have you felt you see much comments online and stuff like that, things coming in? Because as I say, we've used it in quite a lot of clips. So it's just all about sort of keeping that interaction and make you feel, a few links back home, I suppose. Obviously,
definitely
from here,
yeah. No, it's been good to be part of it. And I think we had that. What was it? A TikTok or a reel that took off with one of my saves. So I think what you guys do is amazing for the club too. I think I have a bunch of my friends back home and stuff. Comment on how good the social media is, and I think I think like you look around at some of the other clubs and they don't kind of put that effort in, and I think it makes a big difference to the people who are following along. So yeah, it's cool to see as a player as well.
You make it easy for us with those saves. I think one of them took off and got like 80,000 views. You never know what's going to take off when you post something up. But obviously, some of your stuff's done really well.
Yeah, I was surprised about that one. Like I wouldn't even put that in top 5 or top 10 of the season, but it still took off.
You got any favourite saves from this season? I mean, we could possibly overlay it here and
I would say the one at Civil, the double save was good, just because that came at a big time of the game. And my favorite saves are ones that go on to mean something in the game.
Yeah.
Like even if I make a brilliant save and we're down 3-0 in the last minute, I don't really care. I'd rather make a save. If we're down 1-0 and we come back and score, or if it's tied late on and you make a save and we go down and score at the other end. So it's definitely nice when you make a save and feel like it impacts the game.
I was certain plenty of saves in that Civil game, and set us up, and that was a good point on the road. And there's plenty of saves I think we could pick apart and go through that all day. But obviously you've got training to get to later on. So thanks for coming on with us. It's been really interesting to hear your story a bit better. So
thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Perfect. Right. Well, thank you for everyone for listening, and we'll be back with episode 2 soon, hopefully.